Hey guys, and welcome back. Today I'm going to be showing you an eyeshadow do's and don'ts video. I have seen this video float around YouTube for quite some time by a few different YouTubers, and I really wanted to do my own take on it because eyeshadow is such a tricky thing and I have a lot of tips for you, so I wanted to do my own version of it. So this is by no means an original idea. So on one eye I'm basically going to be showing you all the things I think you should be doing, and on the other side I'm going to be showing all the things that I wouldn't recommend you doing. If something works for you, then by all means go ahead and do it, but I'm just going to show you guys some common mistakes that are made and basically what you should be doing instead. If you do want to see some eyeshadow do's and don'ts, then just keep on watching. So the first do is to use a primer or a base. Now this is definitely something that can be quite self-explanatory, but some people actually skip this step and they might not know how much of a difference it actually makes. I personally prefer using a concealer because my eyelids can get quite dry and I just like the feel of a concealer a little bit better. And I personally love this because I feel like it just cancels out all of the natural colours of my eyelid. I do make sure to set it though because it is a concealer, so it will warm up and crease, but it just makes my eye a blank canvas to work on. It makes every colour blend and appear more vibrant. And that also brings us to our next don't. You don't want to forget to apply some sort of base underneath your eyeshadow, as this will prevent the eyeshadow from adhering well to the eyes. Also, it will appear duller and it won't last as long, so I definitely recommend applying some sort of base underneath your eyeshadow. So my next do is actually something I don't always stick to. I recommend doing your foundation after you have done your eyeshadow just because it prevents all of that messiness from falling onto your foundation and your concealer and all of that you've taken so long to perfect. It also gives you the option to clean up the sides of your eyes, wipe away any fallout, and just make everything look a lot neater. And then of course, once you've cleaned it up, you can go ahead and apply some concealer or foundation or whatever you're using, and that will also just make everything look a lot smoother and cleaner, and that way you didn't waste any time having to fix messy foundation. And then of course, on the flip side, don't finish your base makeup before your eyes. If you're going to apply your foundation, then fair enough, but you don't want to do your concealer, your foundation, your powder, and then you're left with this big old mess. And then of course you have to go and apply your concealer on top of that, which sometimes makes it look dull. I sometimes do apply my foundation and concealer first, but only usually if I'm not doing a lot of heavy eye makeup. So my next do is actually a very big one. This is probably the most important thing when blending out your eyeshadow, and it is to use transition shades. The transition shade I'm using at the moment is Makeup Geek Peach Smoothie Eyeshadow, and the purpose of a transition shade is to make all of the other colours you're applying in the crease or on the lid blend a lot easier into one another. The aim of the game is kind of to create a transition between multiple colours and make as if that you can't see seams between them. So what I like to do personally is use multiple transition shades, so go from a light peach into a medium peachy brown, and then go into a slightly darker brown, and then into the darkest color I'm using. So having a palette that has multiple options really helps with this, and it really creates that nice flawless blend. I always recommend starting off with the lightest shade and slowly transitioning into the darker shade. That way you can really get a nice seamless blend and you can apply the darkest color exactly where you want it. And then of course that brings us to our next don't. You don't want to apply a dark colour first, especially in the crease. So as you can see me doing here, I'm taking a big old brush, taking a lot of dark brown and applying it first into the crease. This is just going to give across a very unblended look, and also even if you want to go ahead and try and blend that out with a clean brush, it makes life really hard and it's not easy, so starting off with the lightest colour really helps. Next, you want to make sure that you do use little amounts of eyeshadow at a time. What you want to do is pick up a little bit of an eyeshadow. I'm showing with a dark color so you can really see what I'm doing, and you want to make sure that you're taking a little bit and patting off the excess, so any product you're using is embedded in that brush and you can gradually apply as much as you need. That way you don't go too much too quickly and you can blend it out and everything looks nice and seamless. What you want to make sure that you are not doing is applying too much color at once. This will just create a really big mess, and as you can see me doing here, I am swirling my brush into this pan. That is just too much and it's just going to create a really big mess. So I'm kind of just applying too much, and then when I try and blend it out, again, like I said before, it's just going to be really hard to blend it out and I'm not going to get that smooth transition. So the next thing you want to make sure you're doing is using the right brush for the purpose you are using it for. So for example, you want to make sure you're using a blending fluffy brush like this one to blend out products. Any fluffy large brush is going to blend out a lot better. You also want to make sure you're using flatter brushes like this to pack on product on the lid or on the brow bone, and also smaller detailing brushes like this to add details in smaller areas. Using the right brush for its purpose is going to make a world of a difference, and you are going to see such a difference in your eyeshadow. And you also want to make sure you are not using a brush that doesn't do the right thing. For example, you want to make sure you are not using a flat, dense brush to blend out product, because it's just not going to do the right thing for you. It's just going to move product around and make it look a bit patchy. You also want to make sure that whilst applying darker colors or applying into more detailed, small areas, you are not using large, fluffy brushes, because it's just going to get that dark color everywhere. And with that being said, you don't want to apply your lid color using a fluffy large brush, because it's just going to move the product about and not apply enough pigment. And the last thing you want to make sure you are doing is holding your brush right, especially whilst blending. As you can see here, I am holding my brush, and you want to make sure that to create a nice flawless blend, you are holding your brush closer to the end of the handle of the brush. That way you can allow the bristles to do its work, and you're not applying too much pressure, and it can just allow it to do its job. And then of course, what you want to make sure you are not doing is applying too much pressure whilst blending, or even just generally applying eyeshadow. Holding the brush too close to the bristles and applying too much pressure doesn't necessarily mean it's going to blend any better. You're kind of just going to be pushing into the eye too much, and it will make it look a little bit patchy. So guys, that's the end of this eyeshadow do's and don'ts video. I really hope you enjoyed. I hope that there were some unique tips that maybe you haven't heard before. Eyeshadow is definitely one of my passions, and I would love to do a version 2 with this. As you can see, I applied some liner, so if you would like me to do a liner one next, then don't forget to like and comment down below and let me know if you want me to do that or any other type of do's and don'ts. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with your friends, and I will see you all next time. I love you guys. Bye!